Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, in fact, let's just do away with all of this because we're in the middle of a really heated argument, hence the late start, so I might as well just transition straight to it. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Might as well carry on where we left off.
Yes.
Ding, ding.
So, like, I was trying to say, like, dude, what's your actual argument? Because I've heard you say all types of craziness since I got here. So what's your actual argument?
Okay. My actual argument is if you are in Australia and you take a time lapse of the sky looking straight up, no matter if you turn around, whatever direction you're looking, the sky will rotate the opposite way. It'll seem to rotate the opposite way as from the same person and from somebody who's in like North America taking the same time lapse of the sky. It's going to look like it's rotating opposite. It's going to appear to, but it's not going to if you take it north, south, east, and west, and you do the cardinal directions. Because east and west, they're based on.
So it appears to,
like, where north.
It's not actually. It appears to be moving in the opposite directions, but
yes.
Not actually, right? Okay.
Yes.
And then.
And how could that be on a flat plane, on a flat Earth? If everyone looks up on a flat Earth, the sky's going to rotate the same direction anywhere.
You're talking about the sky. Have you proven that it's something other than a flat Earth that we're on? Because you know what you're going to need for that, right?
By just the way the sky seems to rotate, that needs to be like we're either it's either top bottom or front back, which it can't be front back because there's like we don't have a mirror world in reality. It has to be top bottom. And that would only make sense, like, if it was a flat...
Sorry, top and bottom.
What the hell are you talking about?
He's saying top and bottom of a sphere that he assumes. Correct?
Yeah, I'm assuming...
So you're begging the question again, like you did in the pre-show, assuming the top and bottom of a sphere. So that's begging the question again.
I'm not begging the question. You're the...
I'm just assuming the top and bottom of a sphere I'm trying to prove. It can only be the top and bottom of a sphere, I'm assuming. But I'm not begging the question. Yes, you are.
I'm willing to change my...
You stuttering bitch. Yes, are you going to take 12 attempts of me pointing out that this is a begging the question fallacy like in the pre-show with you interrupting every single attempt of the 12? You're now talking again. Please.
Yes.
Stop talking.
You act like you haven't the entire time.
Stop. I want you to listen once to what I'm saying. Are you incapable of listening? Okay, so when you say on the top and bottom, that's on the top and bottom of the sphere, you're assuming. That's a begging the question fallacy, the same as hemispheres you used in the pre-show is a begging the question fallacy. An assumption of the thing you're trying to prove as your outcome. So saying can only work if it's top and bottom of a sphere, that's begging the question. Understand?
Okay. Yes. I will give you that too. So
okay. Excellent. Thank you. Now you can shut up as I berate you for being a fundamentalist religious zealot with a fallacy for a claim that is not proof. That is not okay. It is you now talking through me while I berate you for being a clown. So you've again...
I'm a clown.
Because you've used a begging the question fallacy, fallacious reasoning, and then conceded that it is fallacious reasoning, and then continually parroted and talked through me like the fundy zealot that you are, who thinks that talking straight through the top of me is reasonable, when he's used a fallacy in debate, and now you are again talking straight through the top of me again, while I point out that only clowns use fallacious reasoning. We don't beg the question here, clowns beg the question, and then talk through the host pointing out that a clown behaviour is to beg the question on a debate where fallacious reasoning isn't acceptable, especially when, for the last 5 straight years here, we don't let people beg the question. It's one of the cardinal rules of this debate. Don't beg the question! Especially don't talk through me while I point out to you, Fundy. See his light flashing, right? I'm just going to point out to the audience what's going on. This light here is every time this wanker decides he's going to mute what I'm saying. He's going to mute me, so he's going to talk straight through me. I haven't finished. I'm still in the middle of my little rant about how a fucktard clown called Going Postal has begged the question and then decided he's going to interrupt every single rendition of me pointing out that both in the pre-show and live show, he's begged the question. He's assumed his outcome. He's told me it's not unreasonable to do so, then conceded that it is in fact begging the question, but said, okay. Not okay, fundy zealot.
Before he
you serious, dude?
confuses things anymore, could we just get a bit of clarity? I know Chocolate was arguing about the claim there. Are we having a claim that the stars don't rotate east to west and that's only possible on a ball based on your orientation. So if I'm looking north one way and south the other, the stars will appear to move differently between my left and right and my right and left. But in reality, they're always going east to west. Is this the crux of his argument? In 2016?
Honestly, he wasn't even making that argument because he said they just appear to do so based on perspective. But then he said, but if this is happening on a flat plane, and then I asked him, so have you proven that the ground we're talking about is anything other than that? Because you're talking about the sky. And we agree, the sky does what it does based on where you're looking at it from, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that have to do with the ground?
If it helps them going postal, I used to live in Australia and I've stayed in the US, and I'm from Europe, and the sky just looks exactly the same, different star sets or whatever, but it looks exactly the same. Just the sun, stars come from the east, go to the west. So, like, don't notice anything. I'm not being funny. Yeah.
I would say, yes, you're right. It does go from the east to west.
So why the fuck are you here telling us to go in opposite directions, you stupid clown? Yeah, that's why we're telling you off, clown show. Because you're telling us to go in opposite directions when you assume a top and bottom of a sphere.
Yeah, if you focus on the south.
Yeah, so if we just ignore the fact that it's a begging the question fallacy and they don't move in opposite directions, they all move in the same direction, you can plough on with your example and completely ignore us?
Why can you look at two different points?
Sorry, you're going to plough on and ignore us? That's what you're going to do, eh, Fundy Zealot? Ignore everything that's been refuted and just plough on with your example asking us questions about it. We're not making this claim. Don't ask us anything about your claim.
I'm not. I'm asking how...
Yeah, so I'm not. I'm just asking... Yeah, you are asking us about your shit claim we've ripped to pieces.
You haven't ripped it to pieces.
Really? Well, hemispheres are begging the question fallacy, and the stars don't move in opposite directions. They all move in exactly the same direction. You've just had somebody who's been on multiple continents affirming that they don't move in opposite directions. So your claim's crap, it assumes a sphere, it's a begging the question fallacy, but you don't think I've ripped it to shreds, even though you've already admitted that it is fallacious. Yeah, I have.
No, I haven't, because if you focus on the north and you take north as the relative point for what you're calling east and west, if you take that and you just flip it and you use south as what you're calling north, then it doesn't rotate east to west as the same way. Then if you take
the
south
analogy,
that's when it goes opposite ways.
Opposite ways? They're all going the same way. Are you dumb?
Did you not listen to what I said? Are you dumb?
What, if you turn around?
No. Yeah, how do you turn around?
So if you turn around, they go in the opposite direction?
Yes.
Well, that's fucking stupid. So that just means you've turned around, you stupid idiot. They're still going in the same direction. If I cross over the road, the cars haven't changed direction, you stupid idiot. Hello? If I cross over the road, have the cars changed direction when I look at them from the opposite side of the road?
And you're staring straight.
Yo, stuttering, globe-believing bitch. Do the cars change direction when I look at them from the opposite side of the road?
No.
So when you say the stars change direction, it's just you turning around like crossing the road.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you turning around and looking up. Oh, look, they're going anti-clockwise. Oh, but if I turn around... Oh, look, they're going clockwise now. Yet that's fundamentally retarded. They're still moving in the same direction, regardless of where you are on Earth.
Yes, but it's...
Yes! So can you shut the fuck up with this stupid shite now?
Fuck up and let me talk. If you're in the south...
Talk? What? About crossing over the roads and then claiming that the cars are moving in a different direction? They're not.
Australia. So how can you orient...
Sorry, you're going to ask me a question? Nobody's made a claim, only you. Don't try and reverse the burden of proof. Don't ask us about your claim you've made.
I'm not asking about my claim. I'm asking about...
Oh, right. Well, can you acknowledge that your claim's rubbish because all the stars move in the same direction? The fact that you can turn around doesn't mean they've changed direction, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah! So can you shut up with your stupid star examples? You don't get the next question of us. I'd like to know why every single claim to be strong globe proof turns out to be a fallacy. You are 3-0 so far, my friend.
And so are...
So am I. I haven't claimed anything. Oh, well, if I've lost, so have you, flat earther. No. Are you dumb?
This is not even a question about the nature of it. This is about figuring out how you orientate yourself in the world, mate. How do you cross a road? If you cross the road, do you still look the same direction? Because it should be, because, yeah, this is all about you reorientating yourself to view something. Irrespective of what it is, it's beyond, it's a little worrying that you're not able to see how incorrect your statement is. Nathan gave you the analogy with cars. If you view it from the other side of the road, can you? Oh, dude, can you see that looking north, whether in south of the equator or north of the equator, will give you the impression of the stars moving from right to left? Now, even if you're in the north of the equator and you look south, yeah, the stars will move the opposite way, won't they? This is about how we view things, and it's probably a little complicated for you, but I think if you could grasp that bit first, you might then be able to apply it to the star rotation. But I think you need to grasp the actual fundamentals first, son.
Yeah, just need to get your head around the simple stuff first, mate. Just need to get your head around the simple stuff rather than constantly interrupting everybody who's trying to educate you.
Okay, no, I like that guy. That guy actually wasn't talking over me like you. And anytime.
Good, I don't give a fuck what you like about me, you stupid clown. You think that stars move in the opposite direction, making you stupid. And I'm going to damn well tell you how stupid you are. You don't like that I talk down to you like the piece of shit you are? Good.
Says you.
Good. I hope you fear me, because I'm humiliating you based on your stupid claims that stars move in different directions when you assume hemispheres. And the only thing you've got for me is to tell me lies about how I've ignored you.
They're not going to talk like this. They're going to actually have a conversation.
I will talk down to a fundamentalist religious zealot globetard that seems to think he can tell me that I haven't listened to his argument after I've ripped it to shreds. Tell me that I don't listen to his claim when I can repeat it back to him. Tell me that it's not important that he begged the question in his opening statement because he's not claiming that anymore. All of those stupid things deserve being berated for.
No, not really, because...
Yes, and I will. I will talk down to you like the scum you are. I will tell you what's what and tell you off for your fallacies. You don't have to like it.
Also misrepresent what I'm saying.
No, I'm not. When you say hemisphere, I'm not misrepresenting you. It's not a straw man, that's a lie.
My conclusion.
You told me it was a straw man, then I pointed out for the audience, no, those were your words.
You're arguing.
Yeah, so when you say no, you actually mean yeah, you are just scum.
Yeah, you are just...
Yeah, you are just scum. And when I rip apart your argument, you say I haven't listened to it. When I concisely detail it back to you, you talk through it.
Can I talk to the other people?
Can you suck my balls, Fundy's scumbag? Liar?
Have something worth hearing.
You haven't got anything worth hearing. I'm asking why you've given us 3 fallacies so far.
Can I talk to the other people in the room? Because, you don't want to...
Can they save you from me? Can they save you from me? Can the other people save me from asking why you thought you had strong globe proof, you've had 3 in a row fallacies, but you need someone else to rescue you, do you, damsel?
No, I don't need anybody.
So why in unholy fuck did you use 3 fallacies in a row when trying to prove a sphere?
Like you're willing to have a conversation. You don't seem like...
A conversation like, why did you use 3 fallacies in a row?
Why are we still harping on that?
Why are we still harping on about your 3 fallacies in a row? Really, we should have a conversation with someone else that won't be about my 3 fallacies that I've used. No. I want to know why you've come here telling us you've got strong globe proof and you've got the same old shite everyone else has got.
And I changed my argument to...
Oh, you changed your argument on the fly, so it's okay then.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Oh, it's just change your argument on the fly. I'll just make up a new argument. The old argument I used was at least 10 minutes ago, so it doesn't count anymore.
Stars in the sky rotating, apparently rotating the opposite way.
What does apparent mean?
Timelapse.
What does apparent mean?
Apparently, they seem to. They don't...
Seem to change directions when you change your orientation, but actually go in the same direction. Yes, I think we've covered this quite a lot, haven't we?
Changes direction.
Yeah, then we've covered this with constant Fundy muting from you while I cover it.
Bro, when you say they seem to, that means they're not actually doing that, right?
Relatives is, if you're...
Oh, so it's relative, like I said initially then, that it was completely hand-waved? Maybe I wasn't listening. Or maybe you're just projecting the fact that you can't listen to a single word I say to you.
I want to listen, because I wanted to explain...
Well, then shut up. That's all you got to do. Close your fucking mic, shut your stupid mouth, and listen to how your fallacious reasoning with hemispheres being on the top and bottom, claiming stars apparently change direction when you turn around. None of these are claimed proofs of a sphere that actually pad out as proving a sphere.
See, you can't not see the sky rotate the same way. Like, you could turn around all you want.
Yeah, you can turn around and change their direction, but that doesn't mean they've changed, or that somehow moving to the bottom of a sphere, you assume, is proving that they've changed direction when they haven't.
No, 2 points in the sky.
No. So why are you still babbling about this?
What I'm talking about. Like, the guy from Australia even said it earlier. There's different stars, different constellations.
And?
So there's 2 different points that the sky rotates around.
And?
How...
Is this going to be a question about your claim? You're going to reverse the burden of proof? It sounded like you said how. Is that the beginning of a question for me about your claim? Bit of a straw man then? Bit of a straw man.
No, not a straw man.
No, so I've claimed this is about the sky, have I?
No, I have.
So it's a straw man fallacy, the one you are claiming I used. Wow. Projection much?
Yeah.
So you're projecting your use of straw men onto me when I'm not using them?
Projecting it on you? I'm not...
Yeah, you're claiming I used a straw man when I actually detailed hemispheres that you did actually say, even though you decided that you didn't say them because it was 10 minutes later. That wasn't a straw man, it was actually your argument that I ripped apart for being a begging the question fallacy. But now you're building up a little straw man and asking us how your claim of how the stars move in the sky when you turn around and claim they move in different directions. Yeah, I haven't made that claim, that's your claim. Why are you asking me anything about it? Oh yeah, that was it, straw man!
It's rhetorical.
It's a rhetorical question. Oh, you don't care about your rhetorical question.
Semantics. Like
just semantics. Oh, what? Words and their meanings and stuff.
Who's the zealot? Who's not?
Are you really going to the point of semantics?
What does semantics mean?
That's your argument?
What does semantics mean? You said semantics. What does it mean?
I can talk now?
What does semantics mean?
I can talk now?
It doesn't mean I can talk now. You are fundamentally stupid and retarded. It's words and their meanings. That's what semantics. So when you say, oh, it's just semantics, what, words and their meanings?
It's never my turn.
When it is your turn, you moan about how it's not your turn after being asked what semantics are and having pointed it out that you've said semantics, like somehow that's an argument. And I say, what? Words and their meanings then? And what you do is talk straight through that and then moan that you're not getting a turn. Well, is your turn in the middle of my turn? It always seems to be.
Okay.
Not okay. I'll do it to you from now on.
You have been the entire time.
What? Addressing your arguments as you redress them while I'm talking?
No.
Yes, that's what you're doing and then moaning and projecting that shit straight back onto me.
Whose turn is it now? Because
your turn. So semantics, words and their meanings. Then that was your last argument.
Yes, because that's what you're trying to like argue with right now.
What, words and their meanings? Wow, what a crime! Are you a stupid clown? Because only a stupid clown would say you're trying to argue with words and their meanings and stuff.
You're trying to take points and words that have nothing to do with the point that I'm making and focusing on those. That's a straw man.
Oh, so you didn't say hemisphere. You didn't say hemisphere.
I did say hemisphere.
Oh, so it's not just words that I'm making up like straw men.
No,
no, I am actually using the words you've used then.
Don't mean anything towards...
So you're just lying, making up a stupid argument that doesn't make sense because you have actually used those words.
Makes sense. Just because the words that I used don't...
Oh, just because the words you've used a minute ago, they were straw men words that I made up that you hadn't used. Like the sky rotating claim that we haven't made that you were about to ask us about. That's straw man.
No, I was about to ask you a rhetorical question. I don't care if there's any answer to it.
Don't ask it then.
I'm just trying to get to the point.
Oh, don't ask a rhetorical question. How is that possible
otherwise? That's what the question that I was going to ask would be.
So, why have you used 3 fallacies in a row?
Which 3 have I used? Begging the question, which I didn't really use because I didn't use that to come to my logical conclusion.
You didn't use hemispheres. That's a lie. Lie number 1 for the audience. Let's keep it nice and calm. In the pre-show, his argument started very specifically with hemispheres. He then decided after I ripped it apart as a begging the question fallacy that it wasn't integral to his argument, and is now saying that he hasn't used a begging the question fallacy simply because he did and it was pointed out as a fallacy. And he conceded it as a fallacy. But now it wasn't won by me. He didn't use a fallacy of begging the question because he didn't actually say the word hemispheres that he did actually say, and I just ripped it apart as a begging the question fallacy. So total lie number one.
And that's the straw man that I'm talking about. I did say hemisphere, and that is the...
Oh, so definitely an argument you made that I ripped apart, and definitely a begging the question fallacy. The one you said you hadn't used, you weren't using begging the question. That was the begging the question that you did use then.
I was not begging no questions.
Oh, so back to he wasn't using begging the question, even though he was, and he conceded it. Now he's lying. Number two lie.
I'm lying.
Yes, you are lying.
Not doing very well right now.
Yes, you keep lying about the fallacy of begging the question you conceded, and are now saying, what fallacies did I use? I didn't use begging the question, even though I did and conceded it, but then decided that I wasn't going to use it anymore.
No, that's not what I... How are you making that argument? Like, what are you...
How am I making the argument? It's what happened. It's recorded.
Come on, dude.
It's recorded. That's what happened.
Okay. Like,
not okay. Why are you asking me why I would use that as my argument when it's precisely what fucking happened?
That's your narrative of events.
Not my narrative, what was recorded.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so not some narrative. Lie number three. Nathan's narrative is the story of what was recorded and actually happened. Not actually what happened. Nathan's narrative version of what was recorded. Lie number three. How many more lies are you going to tell?
I don't know. How many are you going to tell?
I haven't told a single lie.
You said that I'm begging the question when...
You are! Hemispheres begs the question, you stupid shit! You conceded it in the pre-show. Now lie number four. I'm not begging the question. When did I do it? Well, when you conceded it after I pointed it out.
I'm saying I'm not begging any questions.
You are. That's lie number five. Still lying about begging the question, even though he conceded it.
I mean, I've dropped that part of my proof.
Oh, so you've dropped it now. So therefore it wasn't used, wasn't ripped to shreds, and you haven't used a begging the question fallacy because you've dropped it. You haven't conceded it. You've just wished it away like it didn't happen, and now you can claim you didn't use a begging the question fallacy because that begging the question fallacy that was pointed out by me has absolved itself into aberration land. Gone into the sky vacuum, never to be remembered, right? No, you did actually use it. You're just lying about using it because you've decided you didn't use it when it was pointed out as a begging the question fallacy because you're double-speaking, globe-believing scum.
I'm double-speaking, globe-believing scum.
I'm glad you could admit it. I will trim that out and put it next to all five of your lies after you lie. I'll put you using your concession of begging the question fallacy after pointed out, then saying you haven't begged the question, then your own words that you are lying, globe-believing scum.
No.
Yes, that's exactly what you are. You've lied 5 times in a row after using 3 fallacious arguments in a row.
And then we haven't been begging the question. Like,
I've dropped you're still saying I'm not using begging the question because you've decided that the begging the question fallacy you did use, you've decided you don't want to use anymore.
One word that I misused that I should...
Hemisphere.
Hemisphere.
Hemisphere. Ignore it indefinitely. Hemisphere.
Yeah. And then I...
Oh, so just name one. Well, that would be hemisphere, the one you've decided doesn't exist anymore because it was ripped to shreds by a flat earther, embarrassingly so for you. But apparently it's not part of your argument anymore, so it can be completely forgotten about. I mean, it was more than 15 minutes ago.
You can't even give me a fucking second to talk.
Yes, sir. My balls, Fundy bitch. That's right, you definitely have begged the question here. That's right, Fundy bitch.
Yes.
Yes, I know. Yes, that's right.
Seconds of what I was talking, and then I've since stopped and I've dropped begging that question. I haven't done it since. You
I haven't done it since. I only took the crack 10 minutes ago. I haven't done any since then.
This argument that you can come with.
Look, man, I only shut up 20 minutes ago. I'm completely clean. I haven't done it for 20 minutes.
Up, the sky can't turn change directions.
Are you saying the
top and bottom?
The best argument that he could come up with is pointing out the fallacious argument that you used?
Hang on, Chocolate. He said top and bottom. He just renamed it.
That's right, Tent.
Top and bottom of what?
Sphere. He's just a liar. So when I pointed out the top and bottom was the same exact begging the question fallacy he conceded in the pre-show, He got a lot of interruption, a lot of fundy muting, right? Didn't even get an acknowledgement, and now it's apparently not begging the question. He's talking straight through the top of me, though, isn't he? Going Postal, right? You're going to talk straight through the top of this, right? So top and bottom. Straight through the top of it. Straight through the bottom of it. Straight through the top of it. Yeah.
Can I talk
top and bottom? Yeah, straight through the top and bottom of my rebuttal. Yeah, straight through the top and bottom of it. Yeah. You are going to try and obfuscate this. So, ladies and gentlemen, when people say you've got a mute button, Nathan, it's because some people like this Going Postal guy decide that they simply will not tolerate me pointing out his lie that he hasn't begged the question when my panel have just highlighted the fact that he went top and bottom with his claim of antipodal movement of stars. Well, that would be the antipodal assumption that he made in the pre-show that he conceded, and he's now lying about using again when he said top and bottom. He wants to continually lie, and do you see that little light of Going Postal flashing while I'm pointing out his lie? This is why you need neutral platforms. I'm pointing out his continual, perpetual lies about begging the question, and what he's doing is talking straight through it.
You call this neutral?
I don't call this neutral because you're fundamentally religious zealot muting me every time I point out that you're lying about begging the question. You're doing it right now, talking straight through the top of me, pointing out that you've lied multiple times about the concession about begging the question fallacy, followed by a repetition of the begging the question fallacy using top and bottom, something you will never acknowledge, but you will definitely talk through in a hope that on this obviously not neutral platform, because you're going to talk straight through this that you've ignored 5 times, right? Like everything else you've talked straight through the top of. Obviously, if this was what you call a neutral platform, it would be tolerated, i.e. the rebuttal that I'm now giving you about your begging the question fallacy that you use over and over again. It would be tolerated by the moderator that you talk straight through it so it never got heard.
Okay.
No, not okay. That's why when you fuckwits do this, I shut you down so that I can actually be heard pointing out that he's begged the question multiple times and then lied about it over and over and over again. And when I point out that he's lied over and over again, he just talks straight through the top of me, like he's doing right now. Yeah, well, I'm going to shut that down. I'm in the middle of a fucking sentence about his lies. But will you think it's fair and reasonable to talk straight through the top of that?
Yeah, kind of. I do.
Yeah, well, fuck you. Get lost. Go away. I've had enough of it. That's what you've got, scumbags. You get pointed out as liars and you think it's reasonable to just talk through it so you don't have to listen.
Is anybody else willing to talk? Because
yeah, save me from the lies being pointed out. It's reasonable for me to talk straight through the top of him pointing out my lies with furious anger about them and the lies about him I've told. No, I want someone else that can talk through without punishment for it.
People talk. Other people need a turn, Nathan.
I will run this show. I will decide who's going to talk. And I will point out when you lie about begging the question. So far, my panel and myself have tried to point out that in spite of you claiming, well, I relinquished my first begging the question, I just decided it didn't exist anymore. But then I went on to assume top and bottom of a sphere, also begging the question that I'm now lying about. That would be you in the third person, are lying about over and over again. You're not addressing the fact that you still did beg the question after the one you've decided that you're not going to count.
I have. And I've said that was a mistake.
Does he understand why hemisphere is a begging question? Do you even understand why a hemisphere is just saying that as begging the question? Do you understand that?
Yes, and that's why I stopped saying hemisphere. I've been saying Australia and North America since...
Top and bottom. You said top and bottom thereafter. That's also begging the question. You didn't acknowledge it. You talked through it when you said it then. You're talking through it now, like I pointed out, is scummy behaviour you need a neutral platform for. So I point out top and bottom's the same begging the question fallacy. You talk straight through it.
Yeah.
Yes, you talk straight through it. Need a neutral platform to obfuscate this? Need a neutral platform to obfuscate the begging the question fallacy that top and bottom involves?
Yes, and I...
You do. You need a neutral platform so that you wouldn't have to ever address it. You could just talk through it so it didn't need addressing, right?
Dude, Nathan, shut the fuck up and let...
Oh, just tell me to shut the fuck up when you've actually lied multiple times about begging the question fallacy because in your mind you decided the first one I pointed out didn't count, but the second one I'm pointing out now you lied about, it's just going to get talked straight through and you're just going to talk straight through it. So it doesn't need addressing because you've talked through it, so that's reasonable. On a neutral platform, it would be allowed. I wouldn't be heard. Would I?
And you're not letting me be heard. You're saying like that I made that fallacy, and I'm saying, yeah, you're right. I did make a mistake. That was a fallacy.
So when you said over and over and over again about 3.5 minutes ago that you didn't use begging the question fallacy, you said you didn't over and over again. That was just you lying.
No, it's not me lying.
Yes, you lying, scummy fundy.
Not
yeah, that's you lying.
That is not.
Yeah, is she lying? Because I pointed it out over and over again. You didn't want to accept it being pointed out. I did it 12 times. You didn't want to accept it and later lied about it.
But it is not my. That is not what I used to come to my conclusion. It's not follows my logic. That has nothing to do with my logic.
So why the fuck did you say it then?
In that sense.
Sorry, why did you say it then?
Whenever you want to,
So why did you say it then? Maybe just talk through me saying it 12 times again.
That was hasty generalization.
Sorry, you're going to ignore my response every single time I say it, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many times I say to this guy. He needs a neutral platform so that what I say is ignored completely. Like asking conspiracy cats for an hour value. Yeah, it can be acknowledged, but then completely ignored. Right?
Yeah,
he's asking
it's my argument.
Your argument uses hemispheres and top and bottom assumptions that beg the question. Then you lie about not begging the question. Then you concede you begged the question, but don't acknowledge the fact you've lied about it for the last 10 straight minutes.
I've removed it from part of my argument.
Oh, so it's back to, you're going to remove the second one that you begged the question with too now, yeah? Top and bottom's also stricken from the record.
No, it's not stricken from the record. But
So it's definitely part of your argument then?
My argument.
Yes, part of your argument. Top and bottom of a sphere, yeah.
It's still recorded.
Yeah,
But
yeah, top and bottom.
That is not central to my argument. That's not.
Oh, so why did you say it then? So why did you say it?
Because I made a mistake.
Oh, I see. And then lied about it because it's begging the question. Your mistake was to beg the question?
Not central to my argument.
So not essential to your question, but you did it anyway. It was a mistake. And then when I pointed out that mistake, also known as begging the question, you lied about it continually. I haven't begged the question. When did I beg the question? Well, when you begged the question and I pointed out the hemispheres begged the question, and then you just decided that didn't count, but then you did it again with top and bottom of a sphere. That begging the question that you lied about doing over and over again because you're scum?
You arguing semantics because I said that.
What words and their meanings? We're back to that, old chestnut. I'm just using words and their meanings. Just words and their meanings, yeah. Have you got anything else in your arsenal? Because it seems like you're all tuckered out. You just keep using the same shit over and over again.
What? You haven't even let me talk. So how do you? What same shit have I been using?
Hemispheres, top and bottom of a sphere, antipodal star rotation in the top and bottom of an assumed sphere, with hemisphere or top and bottom used to assume it.
I thought we agreed like we should just ignore this.
Hemisphere?
Neil, can you shut up?
Argument. Well, you shut up. Let other people talk. I want to hear from other people.
Save you from me?
No, I want to hear from other people. You have nothing.
You don't want to hear from me. You don't want to hear from me.
On the one thing that I made a mistake on.
Yeah, you made a mistake. You begged the question, then denied it. Said you didn't.
Okay. I'm not.
So you're a liar. So just okay. No, not okay. You're getting yelled at because you're a liar.
I'm not a liar.
So when you said you didn't beg the question, even though it was pointed out with 12 repetitions the first time, about 6 repetitions the second time, and then a concise summary from Chocolate highlighting how you begged the question after the one you decided didn't exist because you relinquished it after it was pointed out, all of those begging the question fallacies that are still on the record, you said you hadn't begged the question, but you're not a liar. Okay. Okay, I accept that.
The question, if it's not central.
I accept that. Maybe someone else should talk to him because obviously he's not a scumbag liar.
Yeah, I know. Maybe the other people aren't scumbag liars.
You are a scumbag liar.
You certainly are.
I haven't given any claims to lie about. In the first instance, all I've done is pointed out that you've used hemispheres and top and bottom, and that's begging the question. You repositioned it as a straw man. Same straw man you were going to be using later when asking about your claim you were making about what the stars do. Yeah, that straw man that you used, because you've got nothing but fallacy.
I used. Dude, you're the one who's like saying like I used the wrong word for something that's not even central to my argument.
Central to your argument being top and bottom of a sphere or hemisphere? Well, you're trying to prove a sphere, and central to your argument is the claim you're trying to prove. That's the definition of begging the question. It's absolutely essential to your claim of a sphere that you assumed a sphere and you did, but you're not saying it's not essential. Yeah, I asked why you did it, and you didn't give me an answer.
It's not essential to my claim.
Nathan,
so why did you do it? So I keep asking, if it's not essential, why did you describe it? I'll tell you why, audience. Because if he doesn't beg the question, it doesn't prove a sphere.
Yeah, that is what I'm trying to prove. It's a sphere.
Hang on.
That's not what I'm trying to do.
He tried to slip in the third one when he said, how do you turn around on a flat plane?
Yeah. If you're in Australia on a flat plane, you turning around and changing where you're looking isn't going to change the direction of the stars.
Crossing the road and turning around in Australia won't change the direction relative of the cars. How kind of stupid shithead are you? I mean, are you really thick?
North Pole, it's not going to.
So you've just said that if I turn around whilst looking at the stars, they don't apparently change. Yeah, they do.
The South Pole, because
that's all they do. He's now going against his actual part of his argument that makes it make sense, which is how they appear to change direction when you turn around. Now he's saying if I turn around on a flat plane, they won't change. Yeah, they absolutely will, relative to how you've moved your position. Yeah, this is stupid. You're just dumb. Like, really, really thick.
They want here to rotate.
Did he say South Pole?
He said South Pole. He just said
I heard
Pole.
it.
Yeah, that was a mistake as well, but I don't know what else to call the southern star that all the other stars rotate opposite around in the other end of the on the other side of the planet. Can we call it planets? Is that indicative of a globe, or is that plain?
Is there a star?
Cardinal direction of a compass is not a South Pole.
By the way, you need a radius for all of that shit you're talking about anyway.
You beat me to it.
You need a
man.
radius?
Hey guys.
I was trying to get.
You don't need a radius to see where, like, to find a point in the sky and then see where all the other stars on a time lapse would rotate around.
Yeah. Okay.
And it being different in different spots of the world. Like, that doesn't make sense if we're on a flat disk.
That's nice. How does that prove anything?
I mean, like, if you would ever let me talk and, like, don't, like, say that I'm begging the question whenever I'm trying, like, if I'm trying to prove it, I need to beg the question at that point.
I see. Okay, just so I can respond to you, hopefully you won't talk straight through me. You're saying when you beg the question, I'm not allowed to jump in and point out that you beg the question?
If
so
you
far,
wait for a minute,
nothing.
if I need to explain where I'm going with everything,
okay,
then you gotta wait until you gotta let me beg the question for a minute. Because I can't prove that it's
did you just say I've got to let you beg the question for a bit? Oh no, that definitely won't happen.
For a second to understand my proof of concept. Yes.
Sorry, let me get it straight. To understand your proof of concept, I must beg the question with you. Oh no. In order for you to beg the question, you must first suck my balls. Have you done that yet?
No.
Are all the
No, you definitely don't get to beg the question here. I don't have to beg the question. I just point out that it's begging the question. I know you don't like that.
I'm not a religious zealot.
You know how many?
I'm willing to change my mind. I want to hear other people's
You're trying to change my mind.
I want to hear.
You're trying to change mine. You're trying to prove it's a sphere. You just have to beg the question every time.
Okay.
Not okay. I don't have to beg the question. You've just said, will you just indulge me for a bit and beg the question with me? For a proof of concept? What, the concept that starts with the outcome of a sphere?
I mean, if I'm trying to prove a sphere, yeah, you kind of do, because, like, how else would it make sense?
How else would you prove a sphere without first assuming a sphere? So you're saying without assuming a sphere, you can't prove a sphere? So without you begging the question fallacy of assuming the thing you're trying to prove, you can't prove it?
No, I can. It's just you're not taking what I'm saying as proof of a sphere until I assume that it's a sphere.
Yeah, that's right. The moment you beg the question, I rip your head off. That's correct. And then you thrash around and moan and lie about how you haven't begged the question.
I haven't. Yeah, because whenever I'm making like the everything leading up to begging the question, I haven't begged the question leading up.
Yeah, everything leading up to it, I'll let slide.
Question.
How about that?
I'll lie.
Yeah, I'll just let it slide right up until the point that you assume your outcome. Then I'll rip your head off.
I really want my mind changed, but you're not doing it, Nathan.
Go on then, prove a sphere. When you beg the question, of course, I won't just tolerate it.
And I tried.
Yeah, you tried and failed.
No, because I'm...
Yeah, you begged the question 3 times. I mean, I already tried to cover this with you. I asked you why you did it, why you thought it was strong glow proof, and it really wasn't. Why you would concede your strong glow proof, in quotes, was actually fallacious reasoning. In quotes, I agree, it's a fallacy. Yeah, why would you do that? It's not, it's just fallacious. But what, I need to give you another chance for a 4th time? And just wait until you beg the question? Yeah, I'm willing to do that.
You're not willing to change my mind. You're willing to try to, like...
So pointing out fallacious reasoning doesn't change your mind. That's why you are a fundamentalist religious zealot.
I'm not a religious zealot.
So when you've got proof to the contrary, i.e. a begging the question fallacy, that's a piece of logic that isn't sound, in fact, a fallacy, you won't change your mind. You just tell me that I need to beg the question with you. That's zealotry.
No. I'm not.
Yeah, that's what you've done.
No. Okay.
Not okay. Zealotry.
Not zealotry.
So when you have your logic pointed out as flawed and fallacious, you say, no, it wasn't begging the question. That's zealotry. Then you later tell me that, well, when I get to the part of my logic that needs me to assume my outcome, you'll just interrupt me. Yeah, that's right, because it's fallacious. But you don't like that. You want to still use the same exact crappy arguments that we've pulled apart because you are a zealot.
What's a zealot, Nathan?
You know the way you want to have your mind changed. What about if I told you that the use of the sextant? What about if I told you? Okay, well, just be quiet a second then. One moment now, one moment. What about if I told you, through the use of the sextant, right, it proves that the sky has to be a flat plane. The sky is flat, so it can't have an up and a down, or a top and a bottom. But the sextant won't work any other way.
So, zealotry, noun, fanatical and uncompromising pursuit of religious, political, or other ideas. Fanaticism.
There's Nathan with the semantics.
There's Nathan with his words and their meanings. I call you a zealot and define it, but it's just a word and its meaning. Yeah, your pursuit of this fundamental belief in a sphere that you would assume at all costs, regardless of the fallacy pointing out, makes you, by definition, a zealot.
You're not even fun to listen. You're not even fun to talk over, Nathan. I'm
not even fun to talk over. Oh, it's much more fun when you've got a neutral moderator that allows you talking over me, right? Yeah, that's much more fun.
Willing to do that.
You've apologized at least 3 or 4 times for begging the question. Now you say it's no fun to talk to someone who corrects you. You only have an existence when you lie. Now, answer the question of a sphere with a radius. Show us a radius so we can believe your sphere. Come on.
Relative to what?
Come on. A sphere would have a radius. Show it to us.
Where'd you get the radius value for Earth as a sphere?
Take any point from North Pole, the North Magnetic Center, and bring it out to anywhere else.
You're talking about poles again.
Oh, what does that do?
No, I'm talking about the magnetic center.
What about it?
What else can we call the magnetic north that's not a pole? Because
just call it the magnetic north, that's fine. I don't care what it's called. Hello, I'm answering you. Hello? What's it going to be? What else can we call it? That's a question I'm answering. He won't shut the fuck up, though, will he? What else can we call it? I don't care what you call it. Call it the magnetic...
Oh, yeah, says you. Says the clown.
We'll call it the magnetic north. I don't care what it's called. What does it prove?
If you don't care what it's called, why are you, arguing semantics with me all the time about what it's called?
I don't care about the name of it. How does it prove what it's proving?
You take, if you want the radius, you just take any point from magnetic center and draw it out.
Let me draw it out. Draw it out where?
Take it out to the edge. If you want to call the outer edge of the whatever we're on, are we on? What do you think we're on? Are we on an infinite plane?
But why are you asking me? I'm asking you what this proves, and you're asking me what we think we're on. Why? Because at this point you need to assume a sphere, right, buddy?
I'm not trying to assume a sphere at this point.
No, what you're actually doing is asking me what you want to know what I think we're on. I thought this example proved something. It ends in a question about what we think we're on.
No, it doesn't end in that question. I'm just curious on what you think we're on.
What maybe if you got to the point where you begged the question, I could rip your head off, but you don't seem to want to. So far, this example of drawing a line on whatever I think we're on, well, that doesn't prove a thing.
What do you think we're on? If we're
I'm not. It's not my claim. A minute ago, this was supposed to be a claim to prove something you were claiming.
Yeah, you wanted to know where the radius is, and I said, okay, let's wherever you want to put the edge. Let's say the center, magnetic center to I don't know, the equator. There's a radius right there. If we're on a sphere, but
if we're on a sphere. Would that be that begging the question fallacy you're not using?
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. So a moment ago it is whatever I think it is, but if we're on a sphere, there's you begging the question, clown.
I'm trying to explain that
Oh, you're trying to explain it? Well, you didn't. You just begged the question of it being on a sphere.
Yeah, because
Yeah, you did, didn't you, Fundy?
I gave you what it is.
Yeah, zealot. You just begged the question, zealot.
What's a zealot, Nathan?
You. With your fanatical belief in a sphere. Maybe he just defined it a minute ago.
My mind.
Yeah. Your fanatical belief in a sphere that you assume at every opportunity, like just now when you assumed it, ding, 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 if we're on a sphere.
I mean, yeah, that's my conclusion, yeah.
That's not a conclusion, that's a begging the question fallacy.
No, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah. That I've said.
Yeah, not just 20 minutes of denial. Yeah.
How else is that going to work?
Yeah. Assuming the thing you're trying to prove.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. If we're on a sphere, that's the thing you're trying to prove.
Logical conclusion to it.
Not a logical conclusion, a begging the question fallacy. You're a bit slow.
What is that?
Bit slow.
Yeah, you are.
Bit slow.
Yeah, you definitely...
Not a logical conclusion, because nothing you did drew me to that logic. In fact, when it came to that point, you asked me what I thought I was on. But then, instead of using sound logic, you just begged the question and said, if we're on a sphere...
Ron, you won't even give me your opinion on what...
I don't need to. You're doing a great job of making claims I can rip apart.
I'm not saying you need to at all.
Yeah, I don't need to. You think you need to tell us how you're on a sphere, though, don't you? By assuming it in every chance you get.
I mean, I'm just saying what I come to my...
How come you said you wanted to have your mind changed, or you're open to have your mind changed? And when I mentioned to you that through the use of the sextant, then the sky has to be flat, through the use of the sextant, as it proves it, that the sky has to be a flat plane, otherwise the sextant wouldn't be able to do what it does. And you never even questioned that. You just went, okay, straight past that.
No, that's because I didn't
understand. Why would you not ask the question about it?
I like that question. Whoever you are, I like you. You're like, that's a very good question, and I need a second to like actually analyze what all like your meaning. Like, are you saying like the sky is flat, or?
Well, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a quick example, right? If I'm taking an angle to a star, right, and that star is directly above your head, and you're taking an angle at the same time to a star that's directly above my head, but both our angles are both 35 degrees, right? So that means when I'm taking an angle, the star I see is only 35 degrees above my horizon, and the same for you. The star above my head is only 35 degrees on your horizon, but the angle we're taking requires a flat base, and we're going to use flat straight line measurements, and those two stars could be 3,000 miles apart. That means the sky has to be flat, and the earth has to be flat, otherwise sextants wouldn't work. There is no other way for it to happen. So there is no top and bottom.
That's a very good point, but that to me, in my opinion, that just makes my conclusion come to Earth. Like, space is just really, really big, and it looks like it's flat, because like if there's so much distance between it, then like it would appear flat. Like I see where you're coming from entirely. I just don't agree with what your conclusion is with it. You're concluding the sky would be flat. I would just think that there's a lot of space in between.
But sure, how
but
can
I see
we
what
both
you're
get
saying.
35 degrees to a star that's directly above both our heads and still use a completely flat straight line measurement along the sea or along the ground, sea and ground? How can you do that? Like, that star above my head is at my 90 degrees, but the star above your head for me is at 35 degrees. And the same for you. The star that's above your head is at your 90 degrees, but the star you're looking at that's above my head is at 35 degrees for you. Yet, the measurement we're taking from me to you, or from you to me, we're using straight line, now not curved, straight line, flat measurements. That's how it works. It's called the circle of equal altitude. So we're pre-assuming that we're creating a circle. We're creating a circle. So my circle will be, the radius of my circle will be from my position to the star above your head. And that will be, let's say, 3,000 miles. So that means the diameter of that circle will be 6,000 miles. And anywhere from my position, 3,000 miles away from the star that's above your head, in a circle, will all have an equal angle to that star at 35 degrees. And the same for you to me. The only way that can work, because we're using flat earth, flat plane measurements, That 3,000 miles is pre-assumed to be across a flat plane without curvature. The only way for that to work would be two things. Number one, the Earth would have to be flat if they were the actual measurements we're using. And number two, the sky has to be flat. Otherwise, and it has to be just perspective. The fact that the stars are appearing 35 degrees for both of us.
I like that example a lot, because that is something I need to look into more. Like, I'd have to actually dig into that a little bit more, because that's, like I said, that's a very good point. And I don't have any, I'd have to, like I said, I'd have to look into that a little bit more to have a good counter argument to that point. But that's a good one. And that's why I appreciate you for actually being a voice of like some kind of reason for this. Because like I said,
You don't
I want to
shut
be
up,
wrong.
though.
Hang on, dude. So, yeah, okay. So go and have a look at what the circle of equal altitude is, how it works, and then come back and tell us what you thought of it. I'm not saying today. Come back another day and tell us what you thought of it.
Okay. I mean, I will.
Actually-
I'm writing that down right now. It's
I'll
the
tell you to go
circle
away.
of
Equal altitude.
equal
Understand
altitude.
it.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, great. Hey, going postal, let me ask you something.
Yes.
To get that angle to the star, whether it's you or Brian under those stars, do you need a baseline?
What do you mean?
To achieve an angle, what do you need to achieve an angle?
To achieve an angle, you just need 2 points coming to an intersection.
Okay, so
Or
let's say
across
that's you.
point.
Let's say that's you at the intersection. The star is in the sky, and you draw a straight line from the star to you. Would that be one of the points?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so Brian's over there somewhere, and you see a star that's directly over Brian. We bring a straight line to where you are, and then that's one of the two lines. What's the other one?
The other one would be from you to the star, but directly above you. And
No.
is that what you mean?
No, the baseline. You need a baseline
The
to
baseline.
meet that. Yeah, so is the
That would
baseline
be-
flat?
I'm not too sure. I'd have to see it drawn out, I guess, to fully get it. So you're saying like
Dude,
I need, like I said, I need to look into what circle of equal altitude is.
Listen, I've just posted it for you in the Discord room. So if you go to the main chat, there's the picture there for you, so you can see it.
Right on.
When you
Thank
see
you.
it, when you see it, please comment for us. Thank you, Adam.
Okay, I see it now. The Adam Meakin, is that the one that you're talking about?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Man, yeah.
I've never used Discord, so I'm like, this is
It's okay.
I didn't even know
see
the
the
chat was
picture?
around.
Guys, just give him a second to look while I thank the person for sending me $100. So it's waited long enough. Thank you very much, Kevin Burns. He said, God, I fucking love this show. Thank you very much for the super chat.
So the base angle would be from me to Brian. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Brian, okay, see the guy holding the tape?
Yes.
Okay, that's you. That's the top
Okay.
of that tape. That top of that tape is the star over Brian, which is the base of that pole. That's the plumb line or vertical.
Okay.
The baseline creates the angle, the corner that you were talking about.
Okay.
Does that happen on a curved surface, or does that have to be flat baseline?
For that picture, that would have to be on a flat baseline, but I'm not sure how that would be.
Hang on. A sextant is a tool designed to get angles. Can you get an angle with a curved line, or do you need two straight lines?
You would need 2 straight lines.
Thank you. Welcome to Flat Earth. 3,000 miles you're away from Brian, and it's all straight. Welcome to Flat Earth. You can't achieve an angle with a curved line, so you can't take the sextant and make it work on the curved surface of a sphere. You can triangulate.
The baseline from you to me.
Hang on. The pause.
Yeah, let him respond.
I mean, like I said, that's good proof, and I don't have any real knowledge on that topic. Like that's something that I didn't really look into that much.
But you do have knowledge on an angle. You do know what an angle is because you said it.
Yes.
Okay, so you become the corner, the vertex, so you can know what the angles of the lines are. So if you got a star in the sky and you aim your sextant at the horizon where the sky seems to meet the ocean, there's your horizontal flat plane, you get an angle to that star. But if the ocean is curving away, you can't ever get that angle to that star. That's a death blow to your globe right now. Are you willing to concede that?
I'm not entirely willing to concede it yet.
Because you're a fun
So
guy.
Guys, just let him respond.
I'm not willing to concede that point just yet, but I am willing to look into it, and I'm willing to be wrong. It's just I don't know much about the topic just yet. Like I'm not too sure what the actual practical use of a sextant is.
That's how I was just going to say. Ted just said it's about angles.
Yes.
Sorry.
I'm talking
Just
about
letting him
angles.
answer. Guys in G+, just 10th man. Thank you.
You already told us what an angle was. 2 straight lines.
Yes.
That's what it is. How can you say you need time to research that?
Because
We're talking about angles.
Because you can still have an angle based on your perspective from like either a flat plane or a ball. Like it's based on your line of sight, which is a straight line.
Posted. The line
Sorry.
from you.
Hold
The
on.
line from you. Sorry.
Just let 10th respond to him, please. He's saying,
Okay.
I've got to summarize his point now. He's saying, no, based on your perspective, you could get a line of sight that is straight, but that doesn't matter if it's curved. That's his last response.
If you're going to measure something and get a proper angle, do you need 2 straight lines meeting to form a corner where there's a vertex? Yes or no? Going postal.
Yes, but there wouldn't be a base
Welcome
from
to
me to
Flat
Brian
Earth.
then in that sense.
Say again, please.
How do you achieve an
Not
angle
you,
of
10th.
the star that's over Brian's
10th.
head?
10th. Hold on. Go ahead. Going postal.
Because I would argue that there isn't an angle from the bottom part. It's based on your perspective, which is like where your line of sight is. It's not based on like the ground that you're on.
Yeah, it is
Not
actually
over-
based on the ground postal.
Yeah, it's
This is
an
why I
area.
wanted
Do
to
you
interject.
realize-
Hang on. This is why I wanted to interject.
Go on, Brian.
The line from you to the star that's over my head is a radius line of a circle. Circle is 2-dimensional. Can you have a curved radius line?
No.
There you go. That's your proof.
But the radius
if they're
line
using
is-
flat out measurements and they're using a radius line and a diameter, 2 things that have to be straight lines to create a 2-dimensional circle, that's 6,000 miles in diameter and 3,000 miles in radius. That means you have a circle with a diameter on the Earth of 6,000 miles, pre-assumed flat, using those 6,000 miles as a measurement that they will use in the real world and do use all the time.
with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you. Smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit the PayPal link, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!